Allow doubts and questions to come in. They're wonderful things to doubt. It's not a bad thing. It's a grace. It's a spirit moment when you question. We come out of a false loyalty. Oh, I have to be loyal to my church, and that means everything that's said I have to believe. I cannot doubt it or question it. But as religious, that's your first duty. Our duty is to keep the church honest. That's our duty. That's why religious life began in the first place. It was when the church conformed to empire, then people went off to keep alive that dangerous memory of Jesus. And if you and I are committing ourselves to that, then any time a papal statement comes out, we just don't quote it. We critique it. We question it. We look at it. That's loyalty. We are slowly learning that nothing is so sacred that it cannot be questioned. Let me repeat that. Nothing is so sacred that it cannot be questioned, particularly in a time of deep transition and chaos, as is our time. Chapter time is a time for looking again at our assumptions and beliefs, checking them against the experience since the previous chapter, and asking ourselves if we are children of the God of Jesus or an idol of our own making. You and I are old enough and wise enough and honest enough to realize that many of the beliefs that we grew up with are not helpful any longer in an evolving world. The expanding knowledge of our secular world has increasingly rendered the traditional theological formulations expressed in certain core Christian doctrine as incapable of making sense to a 21st century mind. No matter how much I love the church, both its creeds and liturgies make assumptions that are no longer helpful. Increasingly, Jesus is real to me, but the theological language about him is not. Over time, my church and your church has been forced to adjust its thinking to the waves of new discoveries that compromised what the church once called revealed and unerringly unchangeable truth. Such truth, over the years, the centuries, has proved to be not only not revealed, but also not eternal. Could I invite you for a moment just to see what's happening inside you? As you hear what is being said, are you feeling comfortable with it? Or is there something nagging, saying, I think Rome needs to hear about this guy? So just see where you are. I want to say again, you don't have to believe everything that you hear, but you must allow yourselves to question everything that comes up before you. In Mark's Gospel 6, chapter 6, verse 31, Jesus says to his disciples, "Come apart with me by yourselves and rest a while." You'll remember that. And you also remember that when they go to the other side, they find the crowd waiting for them. What you're being invited to at this time is also come apart with me and rest a while. It's not going to be much of a rest, but it will be a break from business as usual. And that very often is also a rest. This rest is to take stock once more of our own story and to ponder what God is doing in and through us. Is it a new thing being done? Or is the future a mere prolongation of the past? We are pretty good at looking at change. And we'll manage change in such a way that really the essentials remain the same, but we'll change all the outer things. The Lord spoke about new wineskins for new wine. But sometimes I think we'll change the wineskins, but the wine will remain the old wine. Is that what's happening? How do you guard against that? We also realize that in coming apart by ourselves, it doesn't mean that we're abandoning the others. I said to you right at the beginning, there are people all over the world praying for you and praying with you. And that the decisions you make are going to impact thousands of others. So you're carrying them all with you. You're carrying them in your heart over here. And be aware of that over these days. Be aware of these people that you're carrying here. There's a lovely line by Mahatma Gandhi, and he could almost have meant it for us, saying, when you make big decisions, think about the poorest person you know and ask yourself, how will that decision affect them? Can we also hear the Master say to us, feed them yourselves? Our present Pope's words are most relevant at this time. And he said, I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been out on the streets, rather than by fear of going astray, staying inside because you're afraid of going astray. And it's a thing, don't worry about mistakes. We focus on mistakes, forget the mistakes. Don't forget them, but you know what I mean. Don't put all your attention on the mistakes. The attention is, what do I need to do? My hope is that we will be moved by the fear of remaining shut up within structures, this is the Pope speaking, which gives us a false sense of security, within rules which make us harsh judges, within habits which make us feel safe, while at our door people are starving, and Jesus does not tire of saying to us, give them something to eat. And they're starving not just for material food, but also for meaning. Also for meaning. How often have we heard people say, why is this happening to us now? Why is God doing this to us now? What do you say at that moment? Can we also at this time do you want to take a little break?
finish your question there, but just so we'll have a break for the interpreters. Thank you.
Can we also at this time recognize the multiplication of loaves taking place in our lives? I was just saying, we concentrate on all the things going wrong. Can you see the presence and feel the presence of God in our midst, in your midst? If theology today is telling us that we're moving away from an elsewhere God to an everywhere God, do we notice this everywhere God around us? Look at the signs of hope and concentrate on those. Thank God for all the good things happening, the life-giving things happening. They may not be us doing it. There are other people doing it. Recognize it. These are the multiplication of loaves taking place in our midst. Rejoice in this. If we can't see this, then our minds are as closed as Jesus' disciples were, and accuses them, can you not see this? Are you so blind? Do you not know what happened when I multiplied the loaves with the 5,000 and the 4,000? Are your hearts still hardened? He was saying this because they couldn't see the signs of life around them.